briefly what I was and he stopped me short and said, "Buenos días, señora. ¿Me puede decir?" You know, and he went through why he wanted me to, that he wanted me to tell him why it was important to me to make this ask of him. And then we had a lovely conversation.
But it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you learn how to be a more courteous person. You
Right.
do learn. I feel like San Miguel and living in Mexico has made me a better person.
Yeah. Well, it seems like this is the norm in many countries. I lived in Costa Rica. I lived
Okay.
in Spain. Like this is normal.
That's
like
right.
The U.S. is a little bit of an anomaly when we don't.
Yeah.
That we're not doing it.
It's really true.
Yeah.
So what about in your U.S. Expat parties? Do you say
No.
hi to each person?
No, of course not. Okay, there's a chronic uncertainty about the exchange rate, politically, your documents, changes in Mexican government. You have to get used to living with uncertainty because it's not your home country. Anything is possible. You know, you don't understand the banking, the language, all of these. So you have to be comfortable with not knowing and uncertainty.
We have to learn to be here.
Yeah, that's right, especially now. There's an irregular and an impenetrable bureaucracy. It's in all foreign countries. We don't know how things work. Keeping your documents in order, checking your stories. This is a funny, Ernesto went to the border, and this is before he became a Mexican citizen. And he wanted to get a 180-day tourist visa, and the guy said, no, sir, no. I'm only going to give you 30. He said, oh, okay. And he walked away, and he went down three guys, and the other guy gave it to him. So there is a lot of irregularities. For example, a friend went to get her driver's license, and she forgot her glasses. And the guy said, well, and this is a kind story. Well, if you had them on, could you take the test? Yes, I could. He said, "Oh, okay. So here, get out of here." You know. So you have both directions. You have very strict, tight control. A story I love is about a guy who ran the biblioteca, the library, 150 employees, and he didn't have a dot over the proper place of his signature. It was over here, and they rejected all 150 checks. So these are not that unusual. They do happen to all of us. The labor laws are strictly in favor of the employee. You have to really be very, very, very aware that even if the person is stealing you blind, unless you have a professional camera watching them and you can fight it in court, they probably are going to get severance pay in a very large amount if you terminate them. Here's a big one. Great trepidation about walking. Walking can be dangerous because the sidewalks are not flat like what you're used to here. You know, they're irregular, and because there's like driveways and things coming out of buildings, and San Miguel's known as the city of fallen women. So a lot of women have fallen. But it just teaches you mindfulness, right? And if you've had many surgeries like I do, you have to ask for help. If there's a big sidewalk, you don't try to do it. You just ask somebody coming along to help you.
But the other side of that, excuse my interrupting, but
No.
the other side of that is walking on cobblestone is so good for the brain.
Thank you, Bibi. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And from a feng shui, or what is it, Tai Chi perspective, it's really good for the feet to have that motion. So it has health benefits. Here's a good one. You will see your family less. But if somebody said, maybe that's better. The noise is huge. Fireworks go on a lot. And they're very, very loud. And they start at 3 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and they go on for hours. So you have to get used to that.
All the time there are complaints. I mean, every week
I know,
see
it's true.
You know, because I subscribe to
People do complain about the noise, but you have to get used to it. It's just part of living there.
Every day is some kind of holiday.
And the belief is that they're sending off the fireworks to God. So they have to do it in the wee hours of the morning.
How does Rudy do with the fireworks?
She doesn't like it. Most animals don't. Yeah.
That's your dog.
Yeah. So there's a lot of traffic, especially on the weekend. I want to disabuse people of one idea. Have you mentioned San Miguel and people said, oh, it's totally run over by foreigners.
Yeah.
It's all American. Yeah. Everybody there is a foreigner. Lie, incorrect. Not true. They've never been there.
15%.
15%. And we do tend to hang around the same restaurants. So I say to people, oh, have you ever been there? Well, no, I just heard. Sometimes people have been there. What restaurants did you go to? H.U. in Mexico, the same restaurants. So if you're going to go and you don't want to be with the foreign community, try a different restaurant. Walk in the markets. You can be in markets and be the only foreigner. So it's San Miguel. To say that San Miguel is a foreign community is insulting to the Mexicans. Why would they ever want their town to be run over by foreigners? They are a very proud society. The Mexican government firmly has the politics is firmly in the control of Mexicans.
I have an important question about the safety of the food, because I go to Mexico every year, but usually a resort. My sister gets turista every year, but we're very careful. So you're saying, oh, you go to a Mexican restaurant in San Miguel. It's like, what is safe? Are all the Americans drinking
If you're
bottled
talking
water
about
all
if
day
you rent
long?
a car and you're in a small town in the Yucatan and you jump out of the car and eat in a Mexican restaurant, you might get turista, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But in San Miguel, it doesn't, it's rare. It can happen, but it's rare because it's a tourist town and they have had purified water in the restaurants and washed everything with purified water for decades.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay, air quality and allergies. My friends have had terrible problems and actually cannot even go there because of the air quality that fluctuates. But there are particles in the air. There's industry in Querétaro, farming, a lot of farming in the surrounding areas. And if you tend towards allergies, that can be a problem. Also, the jacaranda trees can really bring on heavy allergies. This is not important to me, but a friend said, make sure people know there's no discount shopping like a Target or Costco or Trader Joe's or Marshall's. But there is the Tuesday market, the tianguis, where you can get, anything you want for a song. I mean, people come home with like a Chanel dress for $1, Single women far outnumber men, 13-1. So if you're looking for dating or a new life partner, it's not likely to happen. I'm sorry to say. I talked about
salsa dance.
Yeah, unless you salsa dance like Laura. There's no seasonal changes, like autumn. We don't really have an autumn. We don't have a change of season. It's called the City of Eternal Spring. It can get super, super hot, and it's getting hotter because of climate change in April, May, and June. It can get in the high 90s and stay there. So that's a big challenge. And then in the February, it can be in the 20s, 30s, 40s, in the mornings and at night. It's absent natural wonders like ocean, forest, those kind of things. Some people really need to be near the ocean. You won't have that.
How far away is the nearest?
10 hours to
forest?
by car, a couple 1.5 by plane to the Pacific Ocean.
And then like forested areas.
There's a cactus conservation garden, world class, but a forest, I don't even know. Where would be the natural?
Isn't there a lake there?
No, there's a water body called the Press. It's what our source of water is, but there isn't a lake. I couldn't tell you where the nearest forest is.
So the outdoors.
Maybe in an area in Estado de Mexico, which is outside Mexico City. That's more forested in that state.
Did you miss the ocean?
I don't. I like looking at the ocean, but I'm not that inclined to go to oceans for vacation. I like other places. Yeah. Okay, gentrification. It's a big issue because the town has changed dramatically. But this again is a controversy. Like some people will say, oh, everything's expensive. Yes, surely it is. But then again, the quality of life has improved with the number of different organic markets and vegan markets and the different cuisines, and then the quality of the food is very high, but the rents have gone up. So there's always these issues that arise, right, with gentrification. I asked my doctor, Fidel, the surgeon I mentioned, and another doctor I saw recently. Both of them were born and raised in San Miguel. So I said, Dr. Fidel, do you think San Miguel is worse now because of the gentrification? He said, absolutely not. It's so much better. It's so much better than when I was there. he said, you have really good quality sidewalks in the Centro Storico. They're terrific. The lighting is so much better. You know, it was a lot darker then. There's so much more engagement with things to do, and you know, he still goes back and forth. He has a practice in Querétaro, but his family lives in San Miguel. He said San Miguel's a much better town than when I grew up. That's his opinion. The other doctor said the same. I was surprised. I really thought they would say it was sweeter in the 70s. You know, they absolutely did not agree with that. So this is primarily driven by Mexican nationals. It is not the foreign community that causes the gentrification. Because there are foreign nationals, then there's more money. So then Mexican wealthy men who want to build hotels and developments and residential areas, the whole outlying area is being developed, which has advantages because people, young families can buy homes now where they couldn't because of the cost. But it's mostly the wealthy class that are doing all the, you know, the big restaurants and the gentrification in the Centro Histórico.
What's the story about the water now?
Yeah.
I can't answer that. I don't know. There's lots of people that they've been talking about it for 24 years. 25 years, 35 years.
The real problem is agriculture.
It's 85% of the water use is agriculture.
And is that a pesticide problem as well?
Well, the pesticide runoff is what's causing the price of the reservoir to be filled in with lilies because they're.
I've heard it's low. I've heard the surrounding area is low pesticide farming. It's low. It's family farming. A lot of it, though there is agribusiness. There is agribusiness, but a lot of the farms are small family farms. So you probably have both. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up. Can you believe it? A little bit of overtime. I want to talk about the permanent residency and the temporary residency. Okay. What I did a lot of research on this because it's changed dramatically, and there's all kinds of changes in the works. What I learned, and this is a key point, getting your visas, getting your documents, temporary resident, permanent, a lot of it depends on which which consulate you go to. So if you go to one consulate, they need all original documents. If you go to another, they'll take copies. If you go to one, they'll have one amount that you need to have in your bank account. The other will have something different. So you will want to ask around, and it might be a small variation, but people did say to check on different consulates if you have a choice. If you get a temporary residency, here are what you need. This is the difference. The duration of the residency. So temporary is only good for 4 years. Permanent is good forever. You can, once you get the permanent, you are authorized to live there for the rest of your life.
Wow, the temporary went up. It used to be every year.
You can live there for 4 years, and then you have to have it renewed.
Oh, mine only lasts a year.
Yeah, well, guess what? Wait until you hear the other changes. The financial requirements. Temporary has lower financial requirements, $4,400 literally a month. You can't have $20,000 that you made in November and $10,000 in January. You have to have $4,400 a month, either by pension or by Social Security or other means of income.
Is that net or gross?
Has to be net, right? 4,400. What do you mean gross? I mean like coming out of,
I mean, if you're 1099%, is it before taxes or?
I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know. Or $75,000 in investments. So that's how people come through. They have investments worth that much.
Investments in Mexico?
No, this is all U.S. You have to prove U.S. with U.S. documents. Permanent residency, a monthly income of $7,400, and that has to be proven with bank statements, or more or less $300,000, $294,000 in investments, and then you get permanent residency. Or a property in Mexico valued at $553,000. Now, one of the reasons this number is so weird is because it's based on the exchange rate. So I'm doing the conversion. Okay, regarding work, And this is a big issue. Some people come down, they want to do it. Do you have to leave, Claire? Oh, honey.
I'm gonna have to leave too, so I'm just going to.
Okay.
Fantastic
It was
talk.
great to
This
see
is
your
my
face.
home. You're so welcome.
This is
I always
Patricia
say hello to
Ellsberg. It's her
everyone.
home. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for you. Thank you for you. It is fascinating. It is fascinating. Not because I'm giving it, just because it's interesting. Work permission. If you want to go down there and work, you really do need to get working papers. You have to officially request working papers. But many people don't. Many people are artists. Oh, can't be bothered, and that's one way to live. But if you want to get permission, if you get a permanent residency, you have automatic permission to do labor in Mexico. But the temporary residents will have to apply and go through a whole process. And it depends on whether you are taking a job away from Mexicans. This is the way it was framed initially. But I think they're now more expansive of that. Vehicles are, if you have a temporary residency, you have to go back and forth, get your vehicle re-licensed in the U.S. So there's much stricter rules with temporary. Okay, I think I'm wrapping it up. Here we go. Each consulate has slight variations in requirements, so verify. Okay, as Laura said, almost anything you ever want to know about San Miguel can be found on a Facebook group. I'm not kidding. If you say, I need my toenails cut, 25 people will tell you where to go. It's the most amazing thing how this, somebody wrote today, I need to have a certain frame, and you're flooded with answers. So, if you are serious about this or considering it, join the Facebook groups, and any question that you have, I promise you, will be answered. And you'll get all kinds of controversy too. So there's lots of variation. And I just want to say, as you know from what I've said, Laura, anyone who has been to San Miguel that's here?
Not this year, no.
Kristen was there. We met. Can you add anything to what I said? No, you don't have to put on the flex. Okay,
I think you covered a lot.
Yes.
So I was there, I don't know, must have been 10 years ago, and I've been in the Peace Corps twice. I traveled all over Africa. I would never go on a cruise or stay in a resort. I like real authenticity. So I always heard about San Miguel. I thought, ugh, I'm never going there. It's a bunch of expats. They're probably fucking up the culture. And, no, I'm never going there. Then about 10 years ago, a friend of mine, Burning Man friend, said, oh, let's rent an Airbnb and go there for La Calaca, which was a Mexican burner. What was her name again?
Claudia Oliver.
Organized a local event at the cathedral, and I thought, oh, cool, I'll go there. I've never been to San Miguel and never wanted to, but okay, I'll go. I have to say, I was completely surprised and wrong, because my impression was that the local expats there had blended in with the community. They weren't building McDonald's and Costco and maybe I don't know, but nothing like that. And I was really quite impressed. And the thing that I'll never forget, I'm a very visual person, I'm an artist, and walking around the streets there, aesthetically, it's so consistent and so beautiful.
And clean.
Oh. So there's beautiful cobblestone streets, and all the houses are painted this beautiful burnt orange color. I mean, the whole thing is like
the aesthetic.
You drive in San Francisco, you get on Bayfair Boulevard, they fling up a McDonald's and a Best Buy or whatever, anything, anywhere. It's no consistency. But San Miguel, just aesthetically, I can't say enough.
A quick historical note on that. Basically, in 1925, the locals, basically passed a law saying that this historic central wouldn't have like big signage, and that it all had to be sort of painted the same color.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting historical note is that there were two competing art schools that were established there in like the late 30s, 40s. And so then after World War II, the people who were on the GI Bill, they were accredited, so they were allowed to go to either of the art schools and sort of live like kings. There was an article in Life magazine in like 1946 about all of these people who were going to art schools, and rum was 10 cents a quart, and it had all of these examples. And so that's really where the tradition of artistic expats coming to San Miguel de Allende
Yeah.
started was with the GI Bill and the art
Yeah.
schools.
Yes, Leah.
I would just, we haven't been there for 2 years, and I've been remembering, and one of the things that really struck me is every day, or almost every day that we were there, we experienced an act of such kindness and such grace from the Mexicans who we knew and who we employed and we were among, that we were close to tears. And that generosity of spirit and kindness is my most lasting memory of it. There is a grace and a kindness that I so rarely experience in this country anymore, sadly.
That's really true, Leah. And it's like your heart cracks open
Yeah.
with gratitude and with love, and it's like you're showered with it
That's right.
in everyday
That's
life.
right. That's
Phoebe,
right.
were you going to ask a question?
I don't remember, but I do, I tagging on to that, communication, I mean, we're so on our phones and all that, but communication, it's like the old fashioned way where people tell people,
Yeah.
people, and you really get this feeling that it's a whole different system, whole different way of interrelating with people. It's really interesting.
Yeah. No, the prevalence of cell phones, of course, they have them.
Yeah.
But it would be really rude to sit in a restaurant where everybody would be on their cell phone, where I've seen that plenty here in New York. But you just don't have a culture of using your phones for every single thing that you do.
So how about walking down the street, Patrice? Are a lot of people on cell phones?
Not at all.
Really?
Would you say that, Laura?
You'd kill yourself if you were on your
It would be, when my friends call me on their cell, I'm like, are you on the street? Put that phone away. You're gonna, no, you don't have a phone, you don't have, it's not considered respectable, it's not, no, you don't use your cell phones on the street.
Do you know much about Todos Santos, where people, expats go and the
I
comparison?
don't,
You don't? Okay.
Yeah, Debbie?
So I just wanted to say that I have had a house there for 25 years. That was, I think, it was a launching pad for Judith, Jenya, and I think for you was the first place to stay. And we just updated it, and it's available.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, people are looking. Yeah, for how long?
I don't know. We haven't figured out yet what
You need
what
to
we
talk
want
to
do.
Kristen.
Yeah.
So Patrice,
My house is
Yes.
available
Yes.
short term.
so what motivated you in the beginning? How did you land in San Miguel?
I wrote an
Well, I had heard about it from reading Tony Cohen's on Mexican Time. So that book was very influential to get me there. And you're going to take that seat? Good. And and then when I got there, I did what you explained. I fell in love with the beauty, the light that comes into that city, all hours of the day and night. And even 24 years later, I could be in a taxi and I would want to ask him to stop so I could stare at the way the light falls in the sky or on a building. It's staggeringly gorgeous. So I'm a beauty person.
Yeah.
And so I would say that beauty, and I knew I'm not independently wealthy, I had just lost a business, I knew I had to work. I thought the foreign community would be a way to work, but it turned out to be the Mexican community that launched me. Yeah. Yes.
Not to be a downer, but is there any talk about like the tariffs that our horrible Indian president is threatening?
I mean, by the terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tariff.
Mexican tariffs.
I know that, yeah. The tariffs by the terrorists. Yeah, the terrorists. Yeah. So it's going to affect me if I continue doing business biculturally. I don't know because he didn't make that announcement since I've been there. But if it comes to pass, I have to tell you, the president of Mexico wrote him a letter that was unbelievably brilliant. Unbelievably brilliant. She said something like,
She's terrific.
probably you don't know this, but probably don't know this, but we have stopped immigration 75. I'm making this up. 75% over what it was last year, something like that. Maybe you don't realize that fentanyl is not a Mexican problem. It's a U.S. So she phrased it in such a way that said, "You fucking idiot," you jackass that doesn't even know how to read a book.
Yeah.
She was so skillful, and he called her up days later, and they had a phone conversation. And who knows? We weren't there. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, love. I don't know what was said, but he said she agreed to close the border for all immigrants, and she said, "I never said that. Never said that at all. That's just made up." So this woman is going to take him on. She's not going to let him.
So has Justin Trudeau. So from both
Oh,
both
that's
ends,
great.
Pincer movement, yeah.
he's getting it.
That's great. It's great. Anyway, I am not worried about tariffs because I think he blows smoke up his nose. And he just talks in order to get people to. But it could happen. Nothing could happen, and everything could.
Right, we don't know.
Any other questions? Okay, would you please shop at Abrazos before you leave? Would you? Would everybody promise to shop at Abrazos? Because Abrazos, the company I started, it's been tough, right? With COVID and now, so I don't know how long we're going to be in business, to be honest. And this is our last hurrah. Today and tomorrow, our last hurrah in the U.S. Everything's being shipped back. So it would please me greatly if you've benefited from the talk. It would please me greatly if you would give some support.
And there's some killer, I just scored some amazing Christmas presents. There's some killer deals are off.
There's killer deals, killer deals.
Shop.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Claire. Okay, so let's carry on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.